Hey everyone, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. Today I have on Lynnsey Robinson, who is a certified clinical hypnotherapist and intuitive guide helping ambitious women worldwide tap into their subconscious mind power to break free from limiting beliefs, step into their highest potential, and manifest their biggest desires with ease. Through her one-on-one client work, Align Your Mind membership, and podcast High Vibe in It. She facilitates quantum shifts into abundance, success, and fulfillment in every area of your life. Lynnsey, welcome back to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here.
So, we already recorded this episode and it was perfect. It was like the best episode ever. And
It
there were,
was it was definitely one of my favorites. I don't want to lay
oh
it
my
on too
gosh.
thick, but it was so good.
It was so good. It was so much fun. I'm like, okay, Lindsay's my new best friend. This is great. And then the episode disappeared. And it was a weird day because after that happened, I had another podcast and her microphone wouldn't work. And we were like messing with the tech stuff for like 20 minutes. So I don't know what happened that day, but it was a mess. And
Weird day.
weird day, but thank you for coming back on to recreate the magic. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we're back, and I don't even really barely remember what we talked about. I just know that it left me feeling very happy and very good about the chat. So I'm sure it'll be just as great this time for sure.
I'm sure it will too. So, I wanted to start out with asking you about hypnotherapy from the standpoint of someone who isn't familiar with it. Maybe they're
hmm
new to it, they don't quite understand it. Maybe they hear that term and they're thinking of like the stage hypnotist or something like that. So, maybe you can just give an overview of what's hypnotherapy, and how can it transform someone's life?
Well, okay. So hypnotherapy really is just a heightened state of focus that allows you to, how I put it is, teach your subconscious what to believe. Because we are all kind of walking around with these positive beliefs about ourselves, known truths that that are non-negotiables for us. And some of those things are stuff we picked up from other people or experiences that didn't get translated correctly, or that's where we call them limiting beliefs, where they were needed at the time to kind of show you the parameters of what was possible for you possibly at the time, but they don't have to stay forever, and there is an expiration date. It's just your subconscious doesn't know expiration dates. So we get to actually teach our subconscious what to believe, um, based off of how we want to be presented to the world, our deepest truth that we know, we are meant here to do something with purpose. So, you kind of teach your subconscious to align with your highest self. So that's kind of the short version of what it is. I can go through the kind of process of how the subconscious forms if that helps. I'll try to make it concise, but basically, when we're born, the only two things you're born with are the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling, and the fight or flight, which kicks in with the fear of loud noises or the fear of falling. So you have these like programs that are ingrained in you, right? That's it. The only things you have built in from evolution are the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling, and that response to those things. Everything else is learned. Everything. So the good news is, if it was learned, it can be unlearned, and that's kind of what I love to do. So around from I guess from birth to around age 7 to 9, you're kind of picking up all of these things as you go through life. So again, truths that you know about yourself, like I love chocolate and I hate broccoli, or I love hanging out with my dad and playing baseball but I hate getting in trouble, that kind of thing. You know these things about yourself, positive and negative knowns, and as you go through your young life, you pick up more and more. Around, again, 7 to 9, you get what's called a critical filter. I'm sorry, there's a squirrel. I'm trying so hard not to get
It's
distracted.
literally like
I
squirrel.
can literally, I can recite this like the back of my hand, but you'll see my eyes kind of just watching this fat squirrel with no neck because it's winter and it just stocked up on all the nuts. Anyway, wow. Okay.
He's
I'm
just
so
hanging out
sorry.
watching you. He wants to hear about the subconscious.
He's like, what's this now about fear of falling? I don't have that. Okay. Anyway, So around 7 to 9, you get what's called a critical filter or a critical mind, which separates what is now the conscious from the subconscious. Around that time is when you get the conscious mind. The only thing in the conscious mind is your decision making skills, your rational thinking, your analytical skills, logic, and willpower. That's it. And that makes up about 5 to 10% of your mind. So everything else that's not conscious is in the subconscious. So, for example, as we're speaking, I'm using hand gestures. I think most of us do, making facial expressions and things like that as I speak. And I don't have to think about how to speak. I just think of what I want to say and it comes out. So, both conscious and subconscious are constantly working together. It was conscious, right, to learn to talk until you learned it and then it became ingrained in you and you don't have to remember it every time. Same with writing. You don't have to remember how to make the letters every single time you write. It's a subconscious thing. You just have to consciously think of what you want to say and put it on the paper. So both are working together very well. But most, I would say, well, actually, it's what did I say? 90 to 95% of your mind is subconscious, is automatic behaviors, ways of thinking, emotions, your nervous system, all of those things, blinking, breathing, the things that keep you functioning are things you don't have to think about. Imagine if you guys had to remember to breathe. That
Mm.
would be disastrous. Like
We'd all be dead.
I'd forget. I would forget. I'd be the first to admit it. So all of these things to keep us alive, keep us functioning, keep one foot in front of the other is the job of the subconscious. If you learned as a child, let's say fire is hot, right? That's the thing that'll keep you moving from one foot in front of the other. That is safe. Fire is hot. Let's not touch it. If you learn that money doesn't grow on trees as a kid, that's what keeps you safe, one foot in front of the other. So when you get to these things like happy or fulfilled or satisfied, that's extra. That's stuff we have to really teach the subconscious because it's not going to just automatically be like, happy is good because we don't always know that. We just know, or I guess the subconscious just knows safe. What is safe and what isn't safe. So when you want to step outside of safe, money doesn't grow on trees and you have to work hard for everything you get. I'm just using money because it's extremely common.
Mhm.
We all know,
Yeah.
right? Money's common. It's a common thing.
We all want more of it.
We all want more of it. As you want to step outside of that safety box of what is normal and safe for you, your subconscious, no matter what it is going to throw up that caution and be like, wait. What are you doing? Hold on. Remember that time you tried this and we fell flat on our face? Remember that time where you didn't try this and we're scared of what might happen? So, an unknown to the subconscious is just as scary as a known danger. So, when we want to go outside of that zone of safety that the subconscious knows will keep you alive, it will feel hard. It will feel really hard sometimes. And so with hypnotherapy, what I'm able to do is take your desire, take your what you want to believe about money or about success or about love, and create a pathway through the conscious into the subconscious through relaxation and through heightening that subconscious receptivity, and kind of in a loving, safe, gentle, holistic way, teach the subconscious that not only is it safe for you to have these things, but it's inevitable. So the subconscious will start to create that reality for you. It's been doing it your whole life. Manifestation in the subconscious mind, sisters, or two sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
It's very, very, you could probably interchange manifestation with subconscious programming very easily. Some people
Yeah.
call it energetic alignment, but it's all the same language. All we're doing is allowing you to feel safe going on that path and knowing that that's already coming to you. Because once you know it's coming to you, it's coming to you. Once you can convince your subconscious that it's okay, that it's safe, it's already happening. You are 100% successful at being exactly who you are based off of what your subconscious believes. Always. It's a goal machine and it's always churning out goals based on what it knows and believes about you. But the thing that we don't always think about, or I guess isn't taught to us really, is that you have a say. You actually get to decide what your subconscious believes. You're not stuck with a belief. The only things that you should be stuck with are the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. And that's it. Everything else is up for debate and it's up for it's really your choice. So what I love to do is kind of help people understand that you don't have to be stuck with whatever is in your subconscious. We all have that stuff. We all do. Your subconscious is perfect at keeping you alive and safe. And that's all it's doing. It's trying to protect you, it's trying to keep you safe. But once we can teach it what is safe to us, actually, it's just so much easier to get the things that you want and that you deserve.
Yeah, this is so interesting because just yesterday, the day before, this woman reached out to me and she was listening to one of the subliminals in the app for the first time. Like she's brand new to subliminals. And she was listening to it and she said, I had this feeling of like pure joy and just like this deep feeling of love just wash over me. And she said, and then it was almost immediately followed by massive anxiety. So I was like talking back and
Uh-huh.
forth with her, and I'm like, that's so interesting because normally people feel real calm when they're listening. But then as we talked further, she said, I have suffered so much grief in my life. Whenever I have something that is pure love and joy, it's taken away from me. And I was like, oh, okay, now I see what's happening. And with what you're saying, her subconscious is like, oh, this isn't safe because every
Yeah.
time you have this, you get your heart broken or something bad happens. So her subconscious is like literally thinking that that feeling of love and joy is dangerous,
Yeah.
but she
Gosh,
can
how many?
overcome that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. How many of us think that way about anything, right? Like, oh, every time I get money, it just goes away really fast. Or every time I
Right.
think I'm happy in a relationship, something goes wrong. Yes. And that's why I say, like, you listener, dear listener, you host, you, me, are not alone at all in these feelings. And it's just, I think if I had known, let's say in childhood or high school or young adulthood, that I actually could decide what was safe to my subconscious, like how much of a game changer would that be? Just knowing that it's possible. Just
Yeah.
knowing that it's possible. It may be more difficult than I thought. It's not. But even if you think like, oh, it's probably going to be so hard, like at least that there's hope and you're not, again, you're not stuck because there's so much that can happen with just a glimmer of hope. And that's all I require people to have when they come to see me. Like, you don't have to believe it right away. You just got to be open to it. Hopefully, I put you at enough ease in our conversation before we start working together that you feel like this is possible for you, because that is half the battle, right? Is just
Right.
believing that it might possibly be possible for me to have what I want, and it might possibly be possible for me to be happy and fulfilled and satisfied and all the things that are gonna give you the best life that you can live.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to ask you specifically like your process of hypnotherapy because this was what I remember when we recorded before that has been literally something I think about every day. And I feel like anyone listening, pay attention to this part. This is so important. I'm like trying to teach my kids this. I feel like we should all learn this in school or like when we're young. You were saying how, and I'm probably gonna completely forget
I was
how to
hoping
word
you'd give
it.
me a hint. So I'm like,
No,
what is
I'll
it? What
tell
does
you
that
like
say?
it was like the way we communicate and the way we receive
Yeah.
communication. And you were saying
Yes.
like some people you'll ask them, "How are you doing?" and they'll be like, "Good." And that's it. And then other
Yeah.
people will be like, "Oh my gosh, my morning was crazy." And da, 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 da. And they'll like give you so much information and detail. And it just kind of clicked with me when you said that because I kind of realized like, oh, I'm the person that'll give like a super short response, but then I want to hear from people that give me all the details. Otherwise, I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
are they mad at me? Why aren't they telling me more? And it just like it was like every relationship in my life flashed before my eyes. I'm like, now I see why I thought that person was mad at me. Maybe it was just their communication style.
Yes. Okay. So I'm so glad that you brought this up, because there's so many things I forget to mention, but there's so many important things that I want to say in every time I do an interview. But this is one of them. So everybody's unique. Everybody is, a little unique little flower, and I love that. There's no definitive way to say this, but in general, I'm just going to go very generally. There are two types of subconscious languages, broadly speaking. There's the inferential person, and then there's the literal person. So, as you mentioned, somebody who takes everything at face value, someone who doesn't need a lot of detail, just tell me what you need, and that's it. I'm not going to dig any deeper. Those are very literal people. They will, however, communicate the opposite way. So, a literal person who takes in everything at face value, doesn't ask a lot of questions, probably wears their heart on their sleeve, probably cries at movies. I'm just saying, it's a generalization. Probably is the first one to say, I love you in a relationship. They tend to be the ones who don't need a lot of information. However, when they speak, it's detail after detail after detail. So you ask them how they got to work and you get a whole novel. The other type of person is the one who maybe usually is more introverted, maybe overthinks, maybe analyzes a lot. You could call them the analytical. I call them the inferential because they are the type that digs deep. They must read between the lines. They must know
Hmm.
how things work. They must ask why. What did you mean? How it, when you give answers, it is very short. When you give answers as an inferential person, you are not giving a lot of information. You are answering the question and
Yeah.
to the point. When you are taking in information, however, you need everything.
Yep.
Or as you said, you're going to think someone's mad at you, right? Like
Hmm.
my dad is a perfect example of this. When I was a kid in high school, I'd have like let's just say like a boy called, right? And he loved answering the phone. I am an 80s baby, so I had like home phones with a wire on a wall. And he would answer the phone and they'd be like, "Hey, is Lynnsey there?" Yes. Right?
Like the
He just
terrifying dad.
loved to
Yes.
torture them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but he did that on purpose. He is very, very, very inferential, very analytical. He is that person anyway. But you'll know as I'm describing these types, you'll notice people around you. Might be doing this already, but they will fall into one of these categories. Now, we all have a dominant of one of these two, but we are no one is 100% of any of these. We're all a mixture of both. So there will be some days that I feel extremely literal and extremely extroverted and just like high energy and da, da, da. And most days, I would say my default setting is a blanket in a book and nobody talk to me. Okay. Thank
Me
you.
too.
Which is hard because I have 3 kids and a husband and
Right.
a job where I talk to people all day. So, as I did say in the previous, I know we keep bringing up the previous episode, but it's relevant because I did say this that sometimes your job or your occupation or your friend group or your relations around you will affect the type that you are or what comes out. So like if I have an introverted friend, which I do, I will default to extrovert. And
Yeah.
these literal can be described as extrovert, inferential can be described as introvert, but it's not always the case. So I kind of tend not to use those words, but more often than not, they can be, attributed to those types. But whoever you're around and whatever you're doing for a living can affect how you present. And so if you are an introvert or an analytical or an inferential person and you are an extremely extrovert in your job, you will want to retreat and
Hmm.
get your energy back. But anyway, back to subconscious languages. Those are the two kind of main types. Now, again, knowing this and looking out into the world and the people around you, you're going to notice who is who. And it's very important to mention there's no wrong or right way. uh, I did a little study of how these kind of languages get formed, and there's a theory which I kind of buy. I really do kind of buy into this theory that uh, as a kid, if your parents were consistent, if they did what they said and said what they did, and you never had to guess what the rules were or what you were allowed to do, or if they were very consistent, not strict or lenient but consistent,
Hmm.
you tend to grow up as a more literal person. If you constantly had to wonder and guess and figure it out, maybe if you were a little unsafe or if you felt unsafe or if your dynamic in your family was a little unstable or maybe a little dysfunction going on, more often than not you're going to carry that into your adult life and have to know have to
Hmm.
know what's going on. And this gets way deeper into like hypervigilance and like all the kinds of your triggers and all that sort of stuff and family dynamics and things like that. But just for the sake of today, uh, there's no wrong way to be. It's just how you're wired. There's no right way to be. It's just how you're wired. So if you relate to a person out in your life and they're not communicating with you in the way that you communicate, just please know it's probably just their communication style and their subconscious language, how they take in information versus the output of information. This helps me as a hypnotherapist because I need to learn your language in order to be able to speak to your subconscious. How you speak to me is not how your subconscious will take in information. So I need to do a little bit of get to know you, um, and the language, the words that you're actually using in order to give you the highest success in your hypnotherapy, in your session, so that I know what I'm saying, what you want me to say is getting in where it needs to go to blossom and bloom into a beautiful new expanding belief about your life and yourself.
And I think it's so essential as a hypnotherapist. But again, I feel like this would have been good to know throughout my whole life, just in
Yeah.
communicating with people. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
like, I think there's so many times where we make these, we have these opinions in our mind of what we think is going on based on the
Yep.
way someone's communicating with us, when it could just literally be that's their style of communicating. But if I don't know that and I don't really know how to work with that, my mind's gonna just, my subconscious is gonna go
Mm-hmm.
crazy, right? And make all these comparisons and patterns to
Yeah.
maybe something negative. And so I think that's why it was so eye-opening to me. Like this is, I feel like a basic life skill that we should all know, but we're not, no one's taught unless
Nope.
you become a hypnotherapist.
Not even. I would say not even, because my school is unique in that I actually worked at the institute that I studied hypnotherapy. Once I graduated, I ended up working as a distance tutor, so I would help like distance students go through the first couple modules. And a lot of those students were coming from other trainings because they didn't necessarily get what they wanted out of those trainings. And so they're looking into the school, they're asking questions, what's so different about this school, da 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 da. And once they go through the first, this is the module we give for free. I say we, I don't work there anymore, but we're like a little family. So I
Yeah.
say we give it for free because it's that important. And people will go through this free like learning module and they'll be like, I never learned this in my hypnotherapy training. Like, what? And
Yeah.
I was shocked because I'm like, this is like day one stuff. This is stuff you like, how are you ever going to see clients and actually feel like you can? I don't know. I get a little biased, but it's like it feels so essential. It feels so crucial to be able to give the client success. Why are we not teaching this and learning this? Why is this not extremely common knowledge, only in like specialty areas? So yeah, it is very, I guess, exclusive info, which it shouldn't be, but it is. And now
Yeah,
you
like
know it
who's
too.
who's
So
hoarding this
who's
information? Because
hoarding it?
I
I
feel
know.
like when we send kids out into the world, we should be like, listen, there's two different ways people are communicating.
Yeah.
You should know
Yeah.
this.
You should know this, guys. Yeah, so it is very, I think it's just very crucial. But yeah.
So
Uh
based on you knowing that knowledge,
uh-huh.
then you can then speak in a way where their subconscious is going to take it in more. Is that kind of
Yeah.
how you use it?
So
Okay.
so when I'm seeing a client for the first session, the first couple, but definitely the first session, I'm taking extensive notes. I'm writing down language they use, words they use, because that's going to come in handy when I do the hypnotherapy script. Also, when I speak to them in hypnotherapy or hypnosis, if we're talking about the two basic types, it's really a difference of, like, this is one example, but if it's a literal person, I could say, you are feeling relaxed, the legs are relaxed, the legs are heavy, that sort of thing. They are something. And you would be like, sure, yeah, okay, cool. There's some people listening to this right now that are like, heck no, which, hey, congratulations, you're an inferential person. I would not be able to talk to you that way. And I would know that because there's a questionnaire that I give to all my new clients to find out where they fall on the scale to a percentage point. And if you're in the middle, you're probably a teacher, you're probably a therapist, you're probably someone that works with people, because you can not only communicate with both types, but you can uh, understand both types. So if you are in that field, you're probably in the middle.
Mhm.
But with an inferential person, it would be a simple fix of like, allow a feeling of comfort spread to the legs, and this is again just one example, just in the relaxation portion. But it goes into all the suggestions that I give in hypnosis. It goes into all of the ways that I communicate with you in hypnosis. We didn't talk about affirmations in this episode, but I think this would be a good
Yeah.
segue. I don't know how much time we have, but feel
No,
like
go
it's
for
important.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this kind of flows into affirmations because hypnotic suggestions are just subconscious affirmations. Okay. So
Okay.
when you're doing conscious affirmations, that's really all they are. They're just things you say to yourself to get into the part of your mind that will make it true. The hitch with conscious affirmations is that you're conscious. You're in that 5 to 10% of your mind. And so it's going to take a little more work, maybe extra repetition, maybe doing it before you go to bed, putting yourself into a light trance in order for it to get to the subconscious, because that's where any of those affirmations need to go. It doesn't mean if you're conscious, it's not going to happen, because any habit that you have had to start consciously, had
Mm-hmm.
to, until it became subconscious. And affirmations are no different. You know, if you say it enough, it will become a habit. It will become a belief. It will get where it needs to go. Hypnosis is just really a speed track. It's a fast track,
Yeah.
lightning speed to that place that it needs to go. So affirmations, if we're going back to subconscious language, there are two types of affirmations. There are I am abundant, I am confident, I am loving and lovable, whatever. And then there's the inferential type, which is I am open to
Mm.
seeing more abundance around me. I am open to embodying more confidence every day. Each and every day, I'm getting better and better at noticing all the love around me, things like that. So every day, I'm getting better at, or every day, I'm more open to, or I am willing to. Okay. So very, very subtle differences, but it allows the subconscious to grab it in a way that maybe a literal or an I am affirmation wouldn't be able to. So whichever one feels better to you is the one that you should be using
Because
for
if
sure.
you're not a literal person and you hear an I am, you're going to be like, no, I'm not. Right?
Ugh, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
You're going to battle it because it's not true, and your subconscious knows that it's not, and it will fight it. Um Again, anything done enough times you could probably hammer it in there if you really if you really
Just
wanted
the
to.
hard way.
But it's like cutting down a tree vertically. Like, why are we
Yeah.
doing that? There's a
Right.
shortcut. So find your language, find where you fall on the scale. You don't really even have to, just what feels better to you, and use that. If it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good, it's not doing what you think it's going to do anyway. It
Yeah.
has to feel at least a little bit in line with who you are. It has to feel a little bit good, or it's not working. It's just not working.
That makes
So,
so much sense just in how the subconscious kind of has its own language that
yep.
you learn and you work with it. And like you said, either can happen, but there's the easy way or the hard way. I'm going to choose the
Mm-hmm.
easy way.
Yeah. Life is hard enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Life is hard enough.
Just
Why are
give me
we
the
doing?
shortcut. I want to get there now. Okay. I want to go
Yes.
fast.
Ugh.
Oh, man. Okay. What are some common myths, misconceptions, things out there around
Mm.
hypnosis? Because I'm sure there's a lot, and maybe people listening have some, if they've never done it
Yeah.
before, there might be some things that they think are true that aren't true. So maybe you
Well,
can
that's the
clarify.
first myth. You actually just said the first myth is that
Oh, okay.
there are people in existence that haven't experienced hypnosis, because
Oh,
we go into hypnosis every single day, multiple times a day.
hmm.
Uh, you're already an expert at going into hypnosis. You already know what it feels like. Hypnosis is the state of mind. Hypnotherapy is using that state of mind to achieve a goal, to
Ooh,
release
interesting.
something, or to gain something. So there's always an objective with hypnotherapy. But the truth is, we've all done it. We all do it every day. If you drive home and you forget driving home, you did it. If you read a book and you feel like you're in the book, and then your dog barks and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in reality. What the heck?" That you did it. All of these sorts if you're in a movie and you cry, there's a part of your subconscious that thinks it's happening to you, so you're in a trance. So congratulations, you are already an expert. All you're doing is using the superpower, and I do call it a superpower because holy crap, how cool is it?
Yeah.
Like, really, honestly, if we think about how cool our minds are, and you get to actually access that really cool part of your mind to create change, positive change, that seems and feels effortless, because it really is. Because again, everything that happens in the subconscious is effortless. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. Anyway, I could talk about this all day, but uh it's something you do every day, and all we're doing is using that superpower that you already have to create positive change in your life, to release a limiting belief, to feel better about yourself, to get closure, to break a habit or gain a new good habit, really anything. The sky's the limit. The only thing I can't help you do is grow wings and fly out the window. I mean, maybe. I've never tried it, but
Maybe
I
if
don't
it
think I
hurted
could do it.
enough, then
I've
it
heard
would
some crazy
happen.
look, studying and doing this work as long as I have with and talking to colleagues and people who do this work. I've heard the I want to say craziest things, but they're actually cool. They're so cool. Like I know a colleague who helped someone get over a gluten allergy with hypnotherapy.
Wow.
Literally changing the structure of the body, okay, to be able to accept gluten. Like it's out of control. And then you have the silly ones. I don't know if they're silly, but to me, it's like I know a colleague who helped a client gain breast size.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
because here's the thing: your mind is in charge. The mind body connection is a real thing. And if
Yeah.
you can convince your mind that your boobs are growing every day, who's to say that it won't happen?
Okay, this is so off topic, but I'm going to bring it up anyways.
Yeah.
So I have three kids, you have three kids. How many times have you heard your mom friends or just people in general say like, "Oh, you're never going to get your stomach back to the way it was before kids." I have heard
Oh,
so many people say that, and every time someone says that, I'm like, "Stop. Stop saying that." Like
yeah. Don't do that to me. Yeah.
you're speaking that into existence because I do think it really, can shape your body quite
Yes.
literally if you really believe it and you're constantly saying that in your mind or out loud. And so that's just something I've experienced where everyone's telling me
Well,
you're never going to get your body back.
and we have scientific proof that the mind can change the body. Okay, so how
Mhm.
many of these like studies do they do with an actual medication and then a placebo? And the
Yeah.
people taking the placebo, some of them always get the result of the medication. You know why? Because it's a placebo. And you know why that's awesome? Because your mind has convinced you that you are healthy or that whatever was ailing you is no longer a problem.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is incredible. Like I don't think people really understand like how I get so excited, but it's true. Hypnosis is a placebo. When people tell me that, I'm like, yeah, that's
I
how
used to work.
amazing your mind is.
Yeah, I used to work in pharma back in the day, and
In
every
your previous life.
single in my previous life when I was a completely different person, but anyhow, like every single doctor would ask, what is, so like let's say you're increasing, whatever by 10%. They would
Mm-hmm.
say, what's the baseline? Is the baseline zero or is the baseline placebo? And every study was set up versus placebo because
Mm-hmm.
there would be a big number of people that would have improvement that were on placebo. And so I remember back then thinking, well, how much is this medicine actually doing if we have to work in the placebo numbers because there's such an effect
It
happening.
really just it really just gets you to ask all the questions because yeah, you're right. How much is a medication really doing if you take it believing it's going to work anyway?
Right.
Holy moly. Also, this is a side note, but there was a study done. I have no dates or references for this, but I I can find it, I'm sure. I'm sure there's multiple anyway, but if you look up studies about you know I would say at the time you'd say like overweight or obese people, and the things they say to themselves as they're eating, let's say, a not so good food
Mhm.
versus positive things. So let me just get to the point. The point is, you will digest an ice cream sundae differently if you are giving yourself positivity while you're eating it versus negativity. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm such a failure. I can never stick with a diet. This is just going to go straight to my hips or whatever. And then on the other side of the coin, you say, "Oh my gosh, I've earned this. This is so yummy and delicious and my body's going to absorb only the nutrients and expel everything else." Your body will digest it differently. This is absolutely insane and absolutely true, and your mind is an amazing thing, and I'm so happy and honored that I get to do the kind of work that I do, where I get to actually not only show you how powerful it is, but use that power to create things you never would have believed possible for yourself or that felt so easy before.
Yeah. It's
It's
so
really
funny. I
cool.
feel like this episode's going all over the place
I
and
don't
I
even
love it
care.
because
It's
it's
so
just
good.
so many like things where I'm like, another great thing everyone should know. But that just what you said about how your body will digest it differently. I don't think my mom even like did this like like on purpose or consciously, but my whole life, because she always felt like she struggled with her weight and everything like that. But she would always tell me from the time I was a young kid, even till now, she'd say, "Oh, you're the type of person you can eat anything and you never gain weight. Like you just always look
My mom
great.
did that to
Doesn't
me too.
matter what
Yeah.
you ate." And I'm just thinking now, like I remember her saying that over and over and over again. Maybe that did change the way my body took in food and
Yeah.
digested it because I don't really have the healthiest diet all the time. But
Yeah.
luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had to deal with like obesity or anything. And I'm thinking maybe she programmed built this strong subconscious belief, not even realizing it,
Yeah.
that I can just eat whatever I want and I'm not gonna gain a bunch of weight.
I would bet on that. Yeah. I think that we do. And this is the point I'm trying to make is like we're already doing it. We've been doing it. Humans have been doing it since the dawn of time
Yeah.
and creating this narrative, whatever for better for worse, creating a narrative around what's possible for us and what we're allowed to believe and what we're allowed to chase and go after and what we're allowed to have and do. And it doesn't have to be anything other than what you want it to be. It just doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. You can stay where you are. Absolutely. There's no rules. It's your show. You're the star of the show, but you don't have to. And if you want anything except for wings to fly out the window, um, it's it's more than likely very possible for you. You just have to teach your mind that it's safe. That's literally it. You have to teach your mind that it's safe. The subconscious, 95% of your mind that calls all the shots. If you get the green light from the subconscious, it's already happening. It's already happening.
It's so funny because now that we've gone through all of this, I really truly believe this is our superpower. I mean, if it can change everything we just talked about, that is like a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, it's nothing we've really been taught, like that this is a superpower. We can change anything, but we can. It's pretty remarkable. And I just feel like if with everything you said, it really does feel like there truly are no limitations. We can work with this superpower to overcome pretty much anything
Yeah.
except for flying out the window, like you said.
Except for flying out the window. And there's another addition to that, except also for, I guess, affecting anyone else. Like you can't use it to like make someone love you. It's like the same rules apply as genies. You can't affect anyone else. It's just about you and how you feel and how you interact with the world and what you attract. And
Hmm.
it's never, oh my gosh. We have a podcast episode about manifesting your ex and like why it's the worst thing to do, but that's a whole other topic. But we what we really try to drive home when it comes to that is like, what do you want to manifest as part of you that is attractive to the mate that you want? Like, what are you looking for? And don't say names, but like qualities. How would you like to feel in this relationship? And that's what we're manifesting. It's always what you're manifesting anyway. By the way, here's a cheat code. Here's a hack for you. It's never the thing ever. You're never manifesting a thing. You're always manifesting the feeling that you're going to get from that thing. And that's kind of what we're doing here, which is why it's so important to be open to how that thing comes to you and in what way that feeling comes to you, because it may not be what you thought you wanted, but it's better. So it's
Yes.
just a
I'm
side
so
note.
glad you said that because there's this whole trend of like manifesting your specific person.
Yes,
And I'm
SPs,
like,
right?
this is
Oh,
who is
gross.
teaching this? This is
Gross.
like so it's like stalker like. I don't know, it's not, and I feel like it
So
it
low vibe.
lends to these feelings, yeah, of like desperation almost. Like it's not a good vibe, like you said. You're not getting at the core of how you want to feel. And yet I'm seeing this trend everywhere and it's just like, oh, stop
I'm
doing
gonna
this. That's
like it's so easy to say like don't do it. Don't do it. But I'm literally like you're not gonna get out of it what you want. It's just gonna put you backwards. Please don't do it. Like it's not what you want. In no way ever is it what people want, I think. I don't think there's
yeah.
ever a case where it turns out well.
Well, because I think you're trying to control the
Yeah.
how. And,
And manipulate someone else. I don't want to know that I manifested them
yes,
against their will. Like that's
right.
horrible to me.
It's creepy. It's
It's a
very
little creepy.
creepy. Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that because I see this trend every day and I'm just like, oh, I don't like
Please
this. But
stop it.
yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. Where can
I
everybody
think this
find
might be
you?
better than the first one.
I think so.
I
I
think
was thinking
so.
that. I think we had like quite a few breakthroughs.
Because we still covered a lot of what we did the first time, but this time we actually had other, we went even further with it. So I'm happy. I think it was
Yeah,
really good.
whenever stuff like that happens, where the audio just disappears or whatever, I just think it happened for a reason. Maybe
Hmm.
right now at this point in time, someone's going to hear this that needed to hear it, or who knows. But I feel
Yeah.
like it turned out, yeah, even better than the first time.
Perfect. Yes.
So, where can everybody find you and connect with you and book a session or whatever they want to do with you?
Well, yeah, well, hey, not whatever, okay?
I know I said that. I'm like, why did I just say that?
Whatever, however I can help you, however I can support you. So I have Lynnsey Robinson Instagram. It's just all my name, lynseyrobinson.com, Lynnsey Robinson on Facebook, Lynnsey Robinson on TikTok. I have as we mentioned, I have a podcast, High Vibe in It, that I co-host with my friend Kelsey. And we talk about all things empowerment, self-love, manifesting, the power of your mind, all that stuff. And I have a membership. If you're not quite ready to do one-on-one sessions or you feel like you just want to learn more about it, I have a really can I give them a link? Did I do this
Yeah.
before?
Yeah. Give me
It's
the
a
link.
free 2-week trial inside the membership, so you guys can go have a look around and see what hypnotherapy can offer you. Uh, dip your toes in, as it were, and then if you really want to dive deeper into personal work together, where the hypnosis is obviously more powerful because it's personal to you and the transformation is more potent, then I do one-on-one sessions. I have openings in March, so well, later in March, so like a few weeks from now. I don't know when this is going to air, but I have some openings this spring. So if you want to dive deep into your personal journey, I'd be happy to hold the flashlight while you walk the path. And yeah, I think that's it. I think.
Oh, I love it. All right, last question.
Yeah.
What are you currently trying to manifest in your life? It could be big or small. What's kind of a goal that's been on your mind that you want to bring forward?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Why wasn't I prepared? You didn't ask me this last time, did you? Did you?
I don't know. I
I
try
don't
to
think
ask
so.
it on every episode, but maybe I didn't because
I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's see. What am I trying to manifest? I know
doesn't have to
there's
be a
like a
lot of
whole
pressure. It could be something little, you know?
there's like a whole list of things, but honestly, right now I would love to okay, I got one. I would love to double the amount of members in my membership.
Oh, that's
That's
a
one
good
that I'm
one.
working on. That's one that I'm working on right now. That's business related. Personally, I need a Scottage. I need a Scottage. I need a cottage in Scotland. That is my Scottage hashtag Scottage. It's happening.
When you said Scottish, I was like, what is that? That's so
Yeah,
cute. A cottage in
Scottage,
Scotland.
TM Scottage, trademark,
Oh, love
Lynnsey
that.
Robinson 2025.
Okay, those
Um,
are two very good goals. Very,
it's
very
a
good.
it's a little one and a very big one. It's gonna take a
Yeah.
while. No, it's not. Lynnsey, why did you do that? Cancel,
Yeah.
cancel, cancel.
See,
Oh,
you're
here's
bringing awareness to it.
one more hack before I go.
Mm.
If you guys ever find yourself talking in a way that's not helpful or find yourself saying things like, oh, it's going to take forever, cancel, cancel, cancel. You can just say that to the ether and it makes you feel better and it cancels out what you just said. I do it
Okay.
all. Every time I do that, I'm like, cancel, cancel, cancel. And it just immediately cancels it out for me.
I'll be doing that like all day because I always say
Yep.
stuff where I'm like, why did I just say that?
It just comes out. But like, yeah, you bring awareness, you say, oh my gosh, cancel, cancel, cancel. It's not going to take a long time. It's going to be in divine timing. And I'm just going to be the most patient person in the world.
That's right. That's right. Oh my
Anyway,
gosh. Well, thank you so much for like the best episode ever. And yeah, we recreated it, but even better. So this was
even
great.
better. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you so
thank you
much.
so much. And everyone, go check Lynnsey out. I will link everything in the show notes. And we'll see everyone back here next time. So thanks for tuning in.